A very happy morning and a very warm welcome to all the students, teachers, mentors, and budding chefs who have joined us today from different parts of the world. This definitely is the most exciting part of the year for all of us at IIHF and all the aspiring chefs who are a part of this mega life changing event that we call Young Chef Olympiad. Trust me when I say that it's an absolutely electrifying environment here in India and over 40 countries which are participating in the world's biggest culinary competition, YCO. COVID 19 has definitely impacted the world. However, we are back with YCO with a lot more zeal, fervor, and a brand new virtual avatar. Yes, YCO 21 is a completely virtual and is bringing the world closer, and we are all moving forward to glory and grandeur. My name is Shweta Pandey, and I'm here to bring to you a great opportunity to interact with and learn from industry experts while the young chefs are battling it out in the kitchens. Today, we have among us a veteran chef who's leading the change in the ever evolving hospitality industry and is taking the world with a storm, one dish at a time. Chef Praveen Shetty started his career in 2005 and has over 16 years of experience in the kitchen with an enviable body of experience achieving culinary expertise. Chef Praveen Shetty joined Hilton 10 years ago and has spearheaded three successful pre openings from Hilton Chennai, Conrad Pune, to now Conrad Bengaluru. Chef Praveen was appointed as the executive chef of Conrad Bengaluru in June 2017 to lead the pre opening team of chefs at Conrad, which is the second luxury hotel in Hilton portfolio in India. Chef Shetty believes in keeping it original by sourcing the finest ingredients from origin markets across the world. He's passionate about adapting new global culinary techniques like pans to the plate, sourced local serve global, and innovative plating and presentation. Thank you so much, Chef, for joining us today. I'm sure our global audience is eagerly waiting to know more about your journey to becoming a successful chef. So, Chef, do tell us more about yourself.
Thank you, Shweta, for nice description. Uh, so yes, I am Praveen, and with Conrad right now, my journey started way back. Uh, so I did my schooling in Pune, and then I did my hotel management in Pune University, Diva Patil College, and then I first joined Grand Hyatt Mumbai as my first job as a commie, where I worked there for 5 years. Uh, then from actually to start with, I was in Pune. I studied in St. Joseph's, and always dreamt of having a hotel or having a restaurant of my own, which looked very far away for me, because we had a pawn shop, and I was to every day sit in a pawn shop in the morning and then go to college and come back. But I always felt that somehow I wanted to go into restaurants and food industry. So I thought the best way is at least to study and to become a graduate in hotel management, and then look for some job, and where I can at least start my own something later on. Because opening immediately for some business was not looking great for me. So I wanted to make sure that I at least be associated with hotel somehow. That's how I decided to go to hotel management after finishing my 12th. Then I did degree course in hotel management from Deopatil Pune. And then my first job was in Grand Hyatt Mumbai, where I finished almost, I had 5 years experience over there. I worked in different restaurants, banqueting over there. I worked in Grand Cafe, which is a French bistro. Then I worked in M Restaurant, it's a grill restaurant. Then I worked in Cellini, Italian restaurant. Then after 5 years, I moved to Hilton. I moved to Hilton Chennai. I was a pre-opening sous chef at Hilton Chennai. There I opened the restaurant called Vasco's, which is a multi-cuisine restaurant. Then I opened a rooftop bar called Q Bar, and a delicacy called Est. Then slowly we had one more restaurant opened called Vintage Bank, which had a wine and cheese bar. After opening up Hilton Chennai, and then I groomed to become a chef of the cuisine, and then exec to the same hotel. And after becoming executive in Hilton Chennai, I moved to the same position to Connaught Pune, because I wanted to have similar kind of experience in in a bigger hotel at the same position. Because generally, becoming exec chef is what everyone dreams of. But I thought that no, I should move to the same position and learn, have more experience before I become exec chef. So I was there for 2.5 years in Connaught Pune, and that's where I moved to Conrad Bangalore as exec chef. And here it's been almost 3.5 years. I opened Conrad Bangalore, have changed, have got many new concepts over here. We have 5 restaurants, right from Mikusu, which is a Asian restaurant with Japanese, Chinese, and Thai food serving here. Then we have Tiamo. It's a open air romantic restaurant serving Mediterranean food. Then we have Indian Darbar serving royal cuisine food. Then we have Caraway Kitchen, which is a global dining buffet restaurant. So that's what is here. And then I am here with you with 16 years of experience. And if a person like me can be exec chef, I think anyone can be exec chef. It's nothing but just do some hard work and have patience in the particular role. And yes, it takes time, but definitely if you have patience and hard work, definitely you are going to reach that place where you want to be.
Thank you so much, Chef. I understand that you say everybody can be a chef, but I'm sure the journey must have been very tasking for you. You're absolutely an inspiration to all the chefs around the globe. So, we are here today to discuss a very interesting topic, which I'm sure is very close to every chef's heart. Best way to teach young chefs the importance of kitchen management. Today, when a youngster dreams about becoming a chef, he imagines himself making innovative dishes. However, all seasoned chefs will agree with me when I say that it's just a part of it all. This brings me to our first question of the day, Chef. Being a creative chef and a logical kitchen manager, does it actually cross paths or it can be managed parallelly?
See, to become a kitchen manager, I think you should first start from down the line, where you have to make sure that you know that you learn the basics first. So, for example, when we are at school, right? So we pass first, second, third, and go to 10th standard. It's a similar way to be a good kitchen manager. You need to first know basics. You need to work in all the kitchens, right, from stewarding to commissary, butchery, say all the veg prep areas. Because once you're kitchen manager, you know that you then only you can tend to give suggestions, ideas, and demonstrate. Unlike other profession, you can guide. In terms of other profession, you can guide them. Okay, you can tell them, brief them. This is what is to done. But kitchen is very different. You have to demonstrate them. So when you become a kitchen manager, if suppose tomorrow when I was a commie, okay, so okay, we should respect everyone, but now the time is not the same. People don't respect everyone. People respect people who know the job. So when you become a kitchen manager, you should know you should demonstrate how to make a proper sauce, proper soup, or a proper dessert. If you're a pastry chef and you're a good pastry chef, you're managing a kitchen very well and everything. But if tomorrow your team member comes to you and asks you that please, how can I improve on this? They will demonstrate it. You can't just say that it's not sweet or it's gluey or it's very watery. So I believe that as a manager, first thing is that you should have complete knowledge of your food and you should demonstrate people how to do a right thing. So that is what I feel. So if you can become a great chef or great manager or great in whatever field you are, but I think in kitchen you should know your basics right. And once you know your basics right, you will manage yourself very well as a chef as well as a manager. So that it helps you because when you come from down the line, when you were commie, then you become a DCDP, CDP, then you become manager or you become a sous chef, CDC, you understand what happens in the down the line. You know why the loopholes are, you know where the shortcuts are. So you tend to catch those shortcuts. So it's very important that you have basics right, then only you can be a good manager.
Absolutely, chef. I agree with you. This is applicable to all. I'm sure all the young budding chefs who are, raring to go enter the kitchen. So I think it's a very good advice for all the young chefs that we have among us who are listening to us today. So this brings me to our second question of the day, chef. What way do you think is the best for them to understand the importance of being good kitchen managers?
Uh, every job is very different. When you want to be a kitchen manager, just think you're the owner of the place. Just think you're owner, and when you think you're the owner, you will take what do you say ownership for everything. Okay, you will not leave something unattended, or you will not leave something for someone else. You will make sure you have your heart and soul into that work. So whatever work you do, you make sure that you are the owner of the place and you own that task what is given to you. That's why you can be a good manager. Apart from that, I think be consistent in what you do. So make sure you have checklists with you, you have trainings in place, and always have good motivational practices in place so that you can be a good manager because um, it's not only putting it on the food, it's also making sure that the team is motivated, your team is learning new things from you, you are also innovative, creative, and consistency through trainings, through practices, through food trials is what helps as a leader or as a manager to excel.
Thank you so much, Chef. I hope that the students who are listening to us are taking notes here because Chef is actually giving out brilliant, ideas for you to learn how to be a good kitchen manager and also be a good chef. So, chef, what's the importance of food cost, and is it necessary for every level of chef to know about it, or should it be instilled at a young age or after the candidate has had some exposure and experience?
See, if in any classroom or any kitchen, you have 30 students or you have 20 chefs. All are exposing the same amount of knowledge or same amount of food, everything. But the difference in everyone is how knowledgeable he is and what all information he has. So for every chef, it is important to know the food cost. Uh, in a way, it's very good because if a commie knows that okay, his food cost for the month is this much, he knows that he's not wasting something. If tomorrow a commie knows that okay, my food cost is increased for today, yesterday was higher, he knows that where he needs to save. So it helps because the time is gone, that okay, chefs didn't know what was happening and they were just cooking, and you had a manager or someone guiding them as to what has to be done. But now chefs themselves are leaders, so you don't need someone else to guide you. So chefs themselves should know what is the food cost, how to control food cost. Controlling food cost doesn't mean cost cutting, it means giving quality food and not wasting the food. So that is what is cost management is, and how you manage how your rates, how what prices you're selling at is how you manage it. So I think as a commie, if it comes to you, then definitely you will learn and excel.
Right, chef. So, also would like to know from you. Let's say a fresher chef joins your kitchen. Let's say day one and day two. So, what are the basic first level trainings that you provide to them?
Whenever a fresher joins, say in Hilton, we have a 45 days training assigned to the chef, which is basics of a training is called say you can on the job training for 45 days. So every 5 days you are monitored. You are given a buddy chef with you, where you are assisting that chef and he grooms you to the core of the job what is to be done. So if we have a fresher joining in, we hand over him a checklist, which is 45 days checklist. In 45 days, whatever be his college or school where he's come from, we still teach basics to him, right from cutting, chopping, blanching, thawing. We go through everything, right from safety, where are the fire exits, what is the fire extinguisher, how to go, where to go, what are the menus, which restaurant is working for. So there's a 45 days checklist given to a fresher from any college he comes from, and he's given a buddy who he can meet. So because if someone comes to a new hotel, he needs someone who can talk to him freely. Like I want a house, I want to stay somewhere here. Or where can I go? Simple things, those things helps for a new joinee to adjust to the environment. So I think that's not how we do. We assign a buddy to him, and a 45 days checklist is assigned to the chef. Then he goes through the checklist 45 days, and then we sit with him. We have a pulse check after 3 months of joining. Generally, it's probation check. What happens in all hotels where you after 6 months you give probation, but we do a pulse check where it's after 3 months to understand this pulse, how we feel about this pulse is check basically a feedback from the team member as to how he feels working over here. It's not a feedback from the employer or from the chef. For example, if someone joins here, he gets a 45 days training, and then after 3 months he again sits with the chef and he tells his feedback how he feels like. That is a pulse check what we do here. That's how we train freshers in the hotel here.
Right, chef. That's pretty exciting to know about the pulse check process that you just spoke about. Also, you spoke about the safety measures in the kitchen that you train the freshers in. So, what are some of the important safety rules that you people implement to protect the kitchen staff?
Uh, Safety for me is all over safety. It's also hygiene. It's also fire. It's also women's safety. So first, I will talk about how hygiene and fire we do. Is that every chef who joins in has to go undergo test, fire training test, fire training, and also hygiene trainings. So within the within the first 3 days of induction, he undergoes the fire safety training, undergoes the hygiene training, undergoes the hygiene written test. Actually understands basics of how a hand wash is and color coding on chopping board and chemicals, basic hand wash techniques. That is all done in a test and has been here. There's a proper training for that. Then we have fire safety trainings where the security officer shows all the fire exits, all the unsuls, trains about all the types of fire extinguishers. So here in the kitchen, we have a special extinguisher called the kitchen extinguisher. It's a different color coded steel extinguisher which can douse all types of fire. So you don't need to go and run so see a CO2. Okay, I have to go for a CO2, or I have to go for a foam for an oil, or I have to go for electrics. I have to go again for a CO2. No. So we have a kitchen extinguisher here in our hotel where which is all purpose. So you don't need to go and start looking at an emergency at what extinguisher should I choose. Shall I choose A, or shall I choose B, or shall I choose C? That is what happens over here. In terms of women who girls who come and join, there are strict procedures laid in for everyone to respect every gender. And in my kitchen specifically, there are walk-ins, dry stores, and everything. So there's particular process in place in my kitchen is that whenever a girl team member enters a walk-in, no one else enters a walk-in when she is doing some work in the walk-in and she's coming out. Or dry stores, whenever you go to a dry store, no one can enter the dry store. So a lot of safety procedures. We make sure that the drops are in place and pick up and drop is there, and they make sure they reach home. Even if trainees join in our hotel, we have the same amount of concern as your team member is there. So safety only doesn't mean that that it's only safety for hygiene. It means overall safety. That gender bias. No, there's no gender bias. There's fire safety, there's hygiene safety. So all the safety, everything is involved in a workplace. And those cultures goes driven down the line. So if someone is working in this kitchen and he has seen the process where this is what hygiene is followed, tomorrow he moves to some hotel, or tomorrow he moves to some other place, he also will carry forward those processes and those styles of working. So it helps overall changing the work atmosphere or the work culture in the industry as a whole.
It's so wonderful to know about this, chef, that you take special measures to, for, keep the women around safe. And this is actually a protocol. It's so wonderful to know about this. Also, chef, do you also teach the young chefs about the importance of waste management?
Yes, uh, we do a garbage check every day. We make sure the team is aware of what is getting wasted, and we brief them in daily briefings. We have a daily pre-shift at Hilton. It's called a pre-shift. So at every day before you start the shift, you have a small briefing. It's a global SOP of how to take a briefing. So every day you have a topic which is globally Hilton follows it. So with that topic globally, you have to teach one more thing. So in that things we insert a lot of points, a lot of initiatives in that, and we brief them because end of the day, whatever things is now, what, everything is more and more zero waste. So suppose you're creating a tomato and you blanch a tomato, the skin is dried and made a powder. So a lot of things are in zero waste. If you get a salmon skin, you crisp the skin and use it as a garnish. So if you get a lamb carcass, then you use different cut for different things. So we try to instill the zero waste process in the place wherever applicable. Wherever not, okay, fine, we understand. But if a chicken is coming, the bones go for the stock. Then the as per the cut, it goes to the restaurant. Say for tandoori, it goes the leg. For a Western, the breast is gone. So curry cut goes to any curry buffet or the team restaurant. So all the cuts go away. So the wastage is zero definitely. But we tend to instill on the table that how we use make zero waste, because definitely there will be wastage in the kitchen when you say you're cutting, chopping, everything. But wherever we can save money through avoiding wastage, if we keep on briefing, because if you see in the kitchen, there is no garbage in the kitchen. Garbage bin. All the garbage bins in my kitchen are kept on the corridor, because when you have garbage bin in the kitchen, you tend to throw whatever you can throw very easily. But when it is there in the eye view, when it is kept in the corridor, you don't throw it. So all the garbage bags in a kitchen are in the corridor, not inside the kitchen. So if you want to open a bottle, you have to come out, you have to open the plastic, throw it, and take the bottle in the kitchen. If you want to throw anything which is left over, you have to come out of the corridor and you have to throw it into the dustbin. So corridors are easily watchable by everyone. Then immediately anyone can see what is thrown. So I think, as chefs, you cannot always have a stick in a hand. Sometimes you have to play very smart. So if it's there inside, you can't hide a dustbin under the table. That's not a way. Always keep dustbin in everyone's view. The wastage will be less. That's what I feel. That's what I practice everywhere.
Okay, thank you so much, chef, for that. I'm sure that our audience would love to hear and learn more and more from you. But unfortunately, with this, we have come to the end of the discussion for today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef, for taking out time from your busy schedule. Do you have any final message for our students?
Nothing. Just have patience, and this is a tough time for everyone. If you are passed out or you are passing out, just take up whatever job you get, whatever field or whatever cuisine or whatever hotel stream you get. Please do it. Have patience. Definitely, things will change. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef. I can't tell you how it was an honor and a delight for me to interact with you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you today, Chef.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again from the entire IHM fraternity for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Chef. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.